Hello Year 7. This is a quick brief video to explain what the documentation part of your project is about. In your computing course this year and in the future, ironically, you will not submit your final program as the final solution. That's not what is going to be marked. What will be marked is a document that provides evidence or proves that you've done the work. The best way to do this is to create a series of screenshots about your program that highlights specific things and lets me or your examiner know that you've done the work correctly. In this video, we're going to go through what you need to include in your PowerPoint, what the different slides are for, so you know exactly what you need to document. If your program doesn't do any of these things, you need to make sure that you fix these things quickly and get them documented and squared away as quickly as possible. You can think of the document as evidencing or providing evidence that you've done certain things correctly. So the first criteria that you had for your programming project was that you had to include a compass somehow in your design of your map. You need to show me a screenshot of your world using the snip tool, zoomed out far enough that I can see the entire world, and I can see in particular as well where the Kodu North is. I should be able to see that the Kodu North lines up with what you've drawn on the map as north, and I should also be able to see a west, a south, and an east compass drawn somehow in your world. Now, many of you have gone to quite a lot of trouble to make a nice detailed world and an enriched world in which the game setting takes place. The zoomed out view that you would have created in my game world screen slide will not be able to show that. So, the next slide, I would like you to show me 6 close-up screenshots of different views of your world. These can take place during the game actually being played, or they can just be different views of interesting aspects of your game, looking at things from a different point of view. No more than 6, please. 6 good close-up screenshots that highlight the world you have created. A good and user-friendly game should include with it at least startup instructions of how to move the character. You'll recall that it's a requirement that in order to turn left, your character must respond or use the comma or the less than key. And to move right, your character must use the greater than or the full stop key. You may also need to include other keys that you have programmed and designed yourself. These can be chosen by you. For example, you might have chosen the L or the space key to move forward, and you might have chosen another key like the F to fire. These need to be included in the description when you save your game. What you need to screenshot is not this description, but I want to see the game load screen when you play it. It should pop up these instructions and wait for you to press enter and then start the 3, 2, 1 countdown. So on this slide, you need to screenshot and evidence the fact that when you play the game by loading it, that those instructions of how to move actually appear in the game screen. The next slide deals with 2 very important things. The first thing that you need to explain to whoever is using or playing your game is how they actually play. How do they score points? How would they actually win the game? The game must in fact be winnable. The other thing you need to explain is the challenges involved in the game. So, for example, perhaps you're doing an adventure game. The goal of the game may be to collect all the apples. So you may have 10 apples in your world. The challenge part of the game, or the lose condition, may be that the time runs out. The first code your game must evidence is the movement. This code should show how your character turns left, turns right, moves, and or shoots. So all the actions relating to the movement or keys relating to actions your character does. As stated before in one of the previous slides, you would have had to write down what does the player have to do to win the game. So, to this end, you need to screenshot all the code that deals with the parts of your game that allows you to collect points or to achieve steps towards the final goal that will mean you have won and completed the game. In order to make the game more challenging, you should also perhaps have a lose condition. On this slide, I would like to see evidence of code that actually causes the game to end as a loss. So these could be things like your health points have dropped below a certain point, or some score value that you're counting down against the timer has counted down to 0. Those are big examples of losers or loss points. Now, you may have a very rich world, so in addition to just having a character, you may have many other objects that do other things. So you might have bots or sticks or castles, and I'd like on this slide, and as many slides as you need to screenshot all the code for the objects that do other things in the game. In order to rate how good your game is, I want 2 of your peers, 2 other students in the class, to play and look at your game and comment on it. So they will evaluate, and then they will score it between 0 and 5 as to how good they thought it was. On the final slide, you'll need to evaluate and think about what you've learned from this project.